Welcome to the Izzy Chinche Show.
They can't handle that truth yet.
Yeah.
And so you hold on to it, and then when they get to that space where they can, then that's when you can.
I'm so excited you're able to tune in. Join me as I interview athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. I also share much about my life struggles, trials, and successes in hopes to inspire you. I intend for this show to be one of the greatest shows of all time, so your listening and support means the most to me. My goal is to help inspire as many people as possible, so please share with a friend if you enjoy just one thing from today's episode. Together, we can help more people grow. Let's get started. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Let's talk about football. Did you play football or?
No.
Okay, you just like football.
Yeah. I mean, I played up until my freshman year of high school. Then I stopped because being up north.
Okay.
Winter hit.
Yeah.
Cold.
Okay. But you were track and whatnot, right? Basketball.
Yes.
Oh, they wanted to offer you track, right? And then you
Correct.
did do that in college? You
Correct.
switched? Let's talk about that. I want to know about that. I'm like excited.
Yeah. So basketball in my life. Got a full scholarship to college for basketball.
When did you get into playing like you grew up in that?
Fourth
like
grade.
you were young? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed at a friend's house on the weekend. He played in this Saturday rec league.
Okay.
And I went to game with him, and the guy
And
was
that
like,
was it?
"Guys, like, you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah." He gave me the form, said, "Take it home to your parents, have them sign it." Came back next week, was on the team.
Okay.
Awful. Because we never played before.
Yeah, you hadn't played. Okay.
And so it was awful. I probably didn't. And then I had a growth spurt and shot up to like 6 foot by my freshman year, 6'1" by my freshman year.
Oh, wow.
And so fifth grade, sixth grade, I played big man.
Okay.
And then they moved me to point guard for some reason.
Okay.
Because I guess I had good hand, like I came into my own. And ball handling, shooting. So as point guard, I was a tall point guard. Point guard for 7th, 8th grade, and the freshman team in high school. And our first game of the season, I stunk it up.
Really?
And so coach took me out, and I was ready to quit. I played awful.
Well, your first game
and so,
in high school.
I went from being starting point guard to back to being the big man.
Okay.
And so what was an advantage to me because I had skills as a guard playing against the big guys, and they're slower, so I was able just to blow by and go to the rim and all that stuff. So but ended up eventually becoming a shooting guard. In college and all that stuff.
Okay. So
but
then
I was pretty versatile because
you went through the whole like college recruitment process. Like basketball was kind of your life, I'm assuming. Then
that was my ticket to get an education.
Okay. Yeah. And did you know? Like, did you have a desire for college outside of that, or you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just my mom and dad didn't go past high school, and they always wanted my brother and I to get a college education, and so
that's so cool.
We didn't come from much, so it was like either you got to get a scholarship somehow, or going to have student loans. And so both my brother and I got full rides for sports.
Oh wow!
My brother got one for football, and I got one for basketball.
Okay, and he's your younger or older brother?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had set the tone, like got the full ride, and you're like, I'm doing that as well.
Yeah. Just in a different sport.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, but never played the... I mean, I see that more now. Like, one sibling is, like, full-on in one sport, and the other one is in the other, and it's kind of like... that way they're not competing against each other.
Yeah.
I feel like for some kids, it's not a good vibe. But then I also see some kids, it's like they go to every practice together, and they do extra training sessions together.
Yeah.
And I'm like
the Watt brothers.
Yeah, exactly. I know there are two kids, it's like they're blended families, and it's like... they're 9 months apart, so they're always training together.
So they're like pretty much like twins almost.
Yes, but they play on different teams.
Oh.
So I'm like, and the teams will play against each other sometimes.
That's awkward for the parents.
I know. I'm like, isn't that a little bit odd? Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I was like, that's cool. Are you still close with your brother?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We talked pretty much almost every day.
Oh, what does he do? I love that. I'm close with my siblings.
Yeah.
Very close. So
he worked for a government contract. His job is weird.
You're like
where they bid and get contracts for military like weaponry and like like tanks and stuff like that. Like
I think about that movie War Dogs.
Yeah.
When I hear that.
He doesn't work for the government, but his company is contracted for the government. So
wow. Okay, well, that's very interesting. So you guys went very different routes then.
Yes.
So how did you get into what? Did you go to school and you immediately went into?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah. What did you get into? Tell me about that.
A nerd in me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an engineer.
Okay. Wow.
A chemical engineer.
Wow.
And so I looked into like Michigan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, like obviously it was stupid expensive to go to Michigan out of state.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
And early on in college, I took a biochem class. And when I had that, I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I mean, I got a C in the class. I was so happy to get a C.
Yeah, I passed.
Yeah,
like, that's how I would.
Nah. So
okay.
I was like, okay. So I decided to be a teacher. I was going to be an elementary ed teacher. That specialized in special education.
Yeah.
So that was my major. Up until my junior year, I was in my practicum for teaching and get ready for student teaching and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the school that I went to required you to do 40 hours of community service to graduate.
Okay.
And so it was time for me to start doing my community service hours. And so I joined this night mentoring program, what it was called, where they pair you up with an at-risk teen in the local community.
Oh, wow.
And so they pair me with this African-American adopted boy. And this is Appalachia. So
okay.
White.
Yeah.
So he was adopted by this family, he and his siblings.
A white family? Okay.
And he was originally from Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
And his mother was in drugs and stuff like that. So he and his siblings got adopted. And so I got paired with him.
Okay.
And he was a freshman in high school at the time. And just spending weekends with him and just talking about our stories, stuff like that.
Aww.
And the way he looked up to me, and he was inspired, like he can go to college now too and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And so just doing that work, like it hit me differently, like in my gut, and I was like,
you knew
this is what I want to do. I want to be able to help young people and let them know that no matter what circumstances you come from, no matter what your background is, you can always have more and do better, do more if you have that one person that will inspire you in a positive way.
Wow.
And so I switched my major to social work.
Yeah.
And required me to do another year of school because of that.
Yeah.
But I got my undergrad in social work.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Talk about like destiny.
Yeah.
You know, it had to happen that way.
And then people say, how'd you get into that? Like, literally, it shows me I didn't choose it.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And
so then you graduated, you went straight into working one-on-one, or?
No, I graduated and stayed in Kentucky for a while.
Okay.
And worked at it was called a youth support center, what it's called. And we worked with, it was an after school program where the kids that were in the court system had to come to our program.
Okay.
And we did a lot of like educational stuff as far as like drugs and alcohol education, mental health, and so just keeping them on track. And it was like I want to say a 4 to 6 week program. And then if they completed it, then they settled their court, whatever they had going on in court. So did that and lived in London, Kentucky for about 2 years. And then I was like, I want to get back to a bigger city. Like, this is nice, but okay. it isn't for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back north because I don't like snow.
Okay, me neither.
And so I was like,
we relate. Another thing we relate on.
Yeah, I was like, no snow. So I was like, okay. I had some friends that lived in Nashville, and I visited a few times. And so I was like,
I visited Asheville.
Let me check it out. So like, I applied to some jobs in Nashville and got a job, and so I moved to Nashville in 2006.
Okay.
And worked at an outdoor program for adolescent boys that had behavioral issues, mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and did that for almost 2 years. And then the market crashed.
Okay.
And it closed down. And then went to waiting tables and bartending.
Yeah, just trying to.
And until I got back into the field, and then got back into the field, worked at mental health co-op for a bit, and then Hermitage Hall with adolescents for a while.
Okay. Yeah.
And then really wasn't vibing there, didn't really like what was going on there.
Yeah.
And so I moved on to work at Cumberland Heights at a treatment center there in the adolescent program.
I've heard of that.
Was there for about almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And while there, that's when I went back and got my master's.
Okay.
In counseling, and then eventually got my license. And during that time, it was like, okay, during the pandemic, let's go into private practice.
That's so cool. I mean, just the experience that you've had, like, for so many years in so many different situations, I feel like that is just so qualifying in itself. And then after all of that, to go and get your master's, I feel like that's almost the way to do it, opposed to like, have had a little bit of experience, it was my 4 years, then I go straight to master's, opposed to like, I've been doing this, you know?
I think the tenure of me being in the field from undergrad up until I went to grad school, like all that experience and different like milieus of populations made my graduate program so easy.
I'm sure.
Like grad school was so easy.
Really? Yeah. I mean, you're in it. So what did you actually graduate in grad school? What was it?
Master's in counseling.
In counseling?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Went to Tribeca.
I'm sure that was very easy for you at that point. You're just nailing it.
Yeah.
That is really cool. That's really cool. So then you started your own private practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the year of the pandemic. Was that 21?
Yeah. Yeah, 2020. No, 2020.
2020.
Wait, was that 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, I'm like, March 2020.
It seems so far away, but it really
it's
isn't.
not. Yeah, I know, it's not. And I feel like in some senses that it was actually, I mean, that's vague, but like it could be good to like raise awareness to a lot of things. Like it obviously did, but also to be in the field that you were in was probably was it because everyone was remote already? Like it just picked it up.
Yeah, it made it a little easier to make that transition because you can work from home, it was remote. You don't have to worry about finding space and all that. And so that was a good transition into. It was nerve-wracking at the same time because you didn't know, like, if you're going to have clients or if people are going to be looking for therapy. But because of the pandemic, I mean, I literally think everyone was looking for therapy. Yeah, it's true. That's what I'm saying. It's true. So then, did you always work remote with kids and adolescents? Now? No, you're okay. That's not my preference. Okay, I was gonna because I was like, just the energy we have sitting here. I'm like, I feel like you'd want to be in person. Yeah. Okay. You had to do it, and I didn't like it because you can't get a feel. Like I'm big on reading body language, feeling the energy, and being able to know, like, okay, can I push harder or do I need to back off? Okay. And on video, on screen, you really can't pick up on that. Yeah. And it's so distracting because they're typically doing stuff, looking at their phone. I can easily get distracted. Like someone walking by or having dogs and stuff like that. So I wasn't my preference. Okay. So now how many kids, and you mainly work with like teens? I work with adolescents is I would say my superpower, but I work with young adults and adults as well. Okay. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So then that's your favorite? Adolescents is probably your, they're fun. Okay. So how many do you have like right now? Do you have? Oof. You don't know. Is it consistent or they kind of cycle in and out? Like you get new ones, you have ones that are sticking around and don't want to go anywhere, and then you have ones that will come for a bit, then they'll fall off, and then they'll be back, and so and that's, I would say, since being in private practice, I would say I probably have had at least 50, if not more, adolescents. For one-on-one, that is a crazy amount. Yeah, that's a lot. Again, I don't see them all. Like, that's true. Come and gone. Come and gone. I mean, that's still a lot of kids, and I imagine that's very fulfilling. Also, can be depleting. Yeah. But there's the mix of both. Yeah. Because I get that one-on-one working with a kid, like you want them to succeed so hard, but then also when you feel what they feel. You just feel for them, so. And then sometimes you just got to refer out, like, it's not working anymore, or like, I'm not providing the services that you need. And so. Yeah. Tell me about that a little bit. Like, you just. Like, if there's some extreme behavior stuff going on or substance use, then obviously in the setting that I'm in, it's not going to be appropriate for them. They need something more intense, something more involved. And so making that recommendation that, okay, this is what they need. Yeah. And hopefully the parents will follow through with that. Yeah. What do you think is like the biggest difference between the way that you approach clients now and like 10 years ago? What would you say like the biggest thing that you've learned and kind of shifted? That's a great question. Wow. Sheesh. 10 years ago, huh? Take your time. Sorry. No, I didn't have the experience, and so I always had the ability to kind of connect with adolescents. I think what's different now, I have more of a clinical knowledge and an approach where since I have the education, the training, and so I can not only connect with them on a human level, but now I have the clinical abilities as well to kind of complement that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about this recently with a couple of people. I've realized that it really comes down to just getting really good at one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that is going to lead you to the other things that you need in life. But if you can get good at one thing, like that is, it's like you said, it's your superpower, because you have spent your life getting good at one thing. And there's actually not that many people who really focus on one thing and getting good at one thing, especially when it's like a service based, like,
right.
and a personable interaction, like that in itself is so valuable.
Yeah.
Like your experience in it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people ask like, why do you work with adolescents? That's like has to be so challenging and hard. I was like, it is challenging, but at the same time, it's rewarding.
Yeah,
and it's not for everyone. You got to have patience, and you got to be willing to meet them where they are, and sometimes get on their level.
Yeah, you talked to me about like your first couple meetings with kids, especially like troubled. You don't kind of coach at all, really. You're just building the relationship, right? Yeah.
I don't come in right away with my clinical hat on.
Yeah.
I come in and trying to get to know them, give them the opportunity to get to know me, and so kind of listening, finding nuggets that I can grab onto that, okay, this is something that I can use that we can relate in, or bring it back up when needed. And so it's really important to establish a relationship with adolescents first before you try to do any like digging or go deeper, because they have that wall up, and if they see you as, just another authority figure or someone who is just here because they're getting paid to be here, they're going to be standoffish and really not let you in. And so I always tell parents that, the first couple of few sessions is going to be me getting to know your child and trying to figure out, what the approach we will take with them, and giving them the opportunity to invite me into their space, because if I'm not invited in, we're not going to get anywhere.
I love that.
I can't force myself in.
I love that. I love that you say like another authority figure. Like they, especially in like the school system, you have to listen all the time. You have someone telling you what to do all the time, and then it's like, and I've actually realized here in the South it's definitely different than in California. The way that like every kid on my team, like I tell them something, they say yes ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So they're taught to just like comply, which I mean, they're still good manners. Like that's good. But in a sense, I'm like, that was new to me. That was very different. And I was like, California's not that way. Have you been in?
It happens all the time. And I tell them, I say, I appreciate the respect, and I'm glad that your parents raised you to show that respect. Yeah. But I'm not old. I said, not old, dude. When you say yes, sir, to me, it makes me feel old. And so, I appreciate you being respectful. Yeah. But you can just call me JT. Yeah. And so I love that. They'll smile and say, okay. And they'll still say yes, sir, no, sir. And I'll just smile at them, and they'll be like, oh, sorry, JT.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I definitely noticed that here. I was like, wow, it's just way different. Like, ma'am and sir is really not that much of a thing in California as it is out here.
I mean, I grew up that way, like saying yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, sir to everyone.
Yeah. I moved out here. I was like, what? I was like, it's okay. Like we're having a conversation here. You're not in trouble. And I think that's one of the things I've tried to like break down with because then I'm not actually building a relationship and getting through to them. Because I'll talk to kids like just on my high school team, pull them over, and they're like, okay, yes, ma'am. And I'm like, we're having a conversation. Like I literally try and remind them that like there is no right or wrong answer. I'm actually trying to understand you, and I actually have to tell that to these kids.
They're like, wait, what? You're trying to do what? You're trying to understand me?
Huh? Exactly. No, I'm serious. Yeah. And I'm like, it's crazy though. The way that they've been taught is just to like they're trying to just give me the answer they think I want to hear. And because I'll be like, did you try your best on that? And they're like, they sit there and think, I'm like, I'm just asking. Like, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I just want to know so that we can move forward. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, then awesome. Then I don't care about the mistake because you said you tried your best on that, And they're like, oh, they start to get it. But I'm like, I'm actually trying to get your answer so that I can assist you the best.
Like you said, understand you.
Understand. Yes. Yeah. I was actually talking to my brother this morning because I was working with a team on film and stuff, and I was like, the way that the structure was set up, like I wasn't able to build relationships, and I had to like cut that off because I told him, I said, if I can't build relationships with you guys, we're just not going to have the buy-in that we need.
For sure.
And like, you're just not going to care as much. So I ended up having to, like, I had to go a different route. Like, sorry, it's not going to work. If we can't build a relationship, we're not going to be able to really grow anything together, you know?
That's the most important part of the relationship.
Yeah. Just understanding, understanding each other.
And a relationship is two ways. And so I always tell my clients, like, even though I'm sitting in this chair and I have all the clinical background and the degree, like, I'm not the professional in the room. Like, you're the professional of your life. And
I love that.
Just as much as I'm going to help you and you're going to learn some things, I'm going to learn a lot from you as well.
I love that.
And so, so don't come here thinking that, okay, he's going to have his clipboard and have his suit and tie on. It's like, no, like, depending on what client I'm seeing, if I'm seeing adults, I will dress a certain way. If I'm seeing adolescents, I'm dressing more like down and like comfortable in the way kind of like they dress. Adolescents, I'll come in with some basketball shorts on.
I know, you look great. I was noticing your shoes. I was like, you have great style.
and so I put my my Jordans on and stuff like that. And so that right there immediately is a connection. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, just dressing for the crowd, and you can change it.
Yeah.
And, not making them feel like on edge. Yeah. I love that you said that, and like, there's like a humility that comes with that, and I definitely have been trying to like work on that within my coaching. Like, I could be wrong. Like, that happens. We're humans. We make mistakes. Like, and I don't need to dig my heels in. I literally had a kid challenge me the other night during training. He was like, no, I actually did do that right. I just did this wrong. And I was like, thanks for telling me. Okay. Yeah. I was like, good. I was glad that he actually felt that he could tell me that, though.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm not always right.
we're human.
Yeah. I love that, though. And it takes a pressure off.
Oh, yeah.
Not being put on a pedestal. And like, I was talking to my life coach about that. He was like, he's changed his, I worked with him for like 4 years now, and on and off, and he's changed his approach so much with me. He was like, I used to really try and like coach you, but now it's like we walk together, kind of.
Nice.
And that's like, I
it's
feel
huge.
It is.
Yeah.
And then it really actually frees him too. You know, like, he doesn't have, if he is wrong, or like, you know what I mean?
And when you're walking together, like you were saying, like, it makes it where the client's going to benefit the most from that, because you're not giving them the answers or putting them in the right direction. You're walking beside them, and they're coming to their own conclusions and coming to their own aha, like, and they figure, and that feels good for them that they were able to figure that out. And in my mind, the smile was like, because I knew the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like waiting for us to get there. And when we finally get there, it's like they did it alone. And so it gives that autonomy and that self-esteem that, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, because it came from them.
Yeah.
And they just have to realize it. We all just have to realize that
it's been there the whole time.
It was there. That's so cool.
Just kind of how to tap into it.
Yeah. And have you figured that to like be kind of a consistent framework, and you can like tell when the breakthrough's happening, or just it varies pretty dramatically with kids, or you're kind of like, this is the way that it goes, and then they have those moments?
It varies from client to client, but you can see the breakthrough coming, and you can see the shift in the progress happening based off body language, based off attitude, and then feedback from parents, like what they're doing at home. And so, like, I can't predict when it's going to happen. But you can feel it and physically see it when it's happening.
Yes. I like just what you're talking about, like the energy. I get a great energy from you. Like, you know, right when you came in, I was like, I feel you have a very good energy. I think it's probably because you're very open. You're open to you're just reading, reflecting. I'm because you do that all the time.
Well, thank you.
I definitely sense that. But is that something like that you rely on, and just like energetically while you're working with clients, or because you have more of like the educational view?
I think this is something I was born with. Because growing up, I always was that friend or that person. People felt comfortable just telling whatever they even needed to tell to.
You're like, whoa.
Why do I want to? Like, I don't need to hear this. Like, and I've always been told, like, I have this calming presence about me. Like, I'm a solid object, and people feel safe and comfortable around me. And I guess that's innately in me, and so I use it to my advantage.
Is it because you are that person? I mean, in your job, but like, do you have a hard time letting down your walls because you are constantly giving that? You know, is that something that
letting down my walls,
or like when you need to unload and talk to someone, is that something that sometimes you're like, oh, I'm doing this for everyone else, but this isn't getting done for me? Is that something that you struggle with, or you're like, no, I've kind of figured that one out?
I can be guarded at times.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I don't trust people, because I do, but I'm very careful of what I let people know about me or what I share based off, because I'm an observer. If I go into a room, people think I'm an introvert and shy, and I'm not. I'm just the type of person. I'm scoping things out, looking at how people are interacting, seeing what people are talking about, and then I make my decision. Okay, this person is worth having a conversation with. This person, I don't really like their energy or kind of what they're talking about, and that's how I start to interact. But once I trust someone, and you know it's a two-way street, and I get their vibes, and it's a good vibe, like I'm an open book.
That's that patience, though.
That
you learned for a lot of years being just being able to just wait.
You don't want to tell someone something about you that eventually, like, they can turn around and use it against you, or like try to hurt you with it. Like, so you gotta fill people out and like earn that trust and gain the trust.
I'm sure that meter is probably well experienced, you know, just working with so many different people and being like, all right.
And when I tell my clients, when I say you can ask me questions and learn things about me, like, and I say, but I have the right to answer and not answer based off whatever you're asking, because I mean, I still want to have that boundary of, okay, we're not friends, you know. And this is your space, not my space. So there's certain things that I won't share with clients. That's the line I'm trying to kind of decipher right now, is like, I want to show these kids, like, I am a person, I'm relatable, and I want to, but then also, like, I definitely see a lot of, or not a lot, I don't want to say that, but I see coaches and trainers cross those boundaries, and I'm like, it feels inappropriate, you know. I mean, it is inappropriate, especially like, you know, hanging out, and like, you know, we don't hang out, we're not friends, you know. It's supposed to, like, you know, we need to talk, and I'm gonna help mentor you, that's different. But trying to find that boundary of like showing them that I am vulnerable on a person, but also there is this, like, I am an authoritative figure over them, you know. So it is that's a tough one. It's a fine line, like
it is. Yeah.
Because it's if you don't pay attention to it, or if you're not in a good space, you can cross that line, and that opens a whole different can of worms. And I've seen that, and it's ugly, and it's just not professional. It's just not professional. It's like, okay. And I've seen it when coaches did it to me when I was younger, and I was like, I feel weird about this. Like, why are you talking to me about this? So you had that gut feeling, like, hey, this is
exactly
this is not right. It's not like
you
need to find someone else to talk to. Like,
exactly. Well, and I think because I experienced that now, I've swung really hard to, you know, keeping that hard line, and now I'm trying to like let it down a little bit to, you know, show the person that I am, you know, trying to like, you know, give a little bit of a peek into that. But then also I'm very aware of, you know, when I've seen coaches go too far, and you're like, this is uncomfortable for everyone.
Even with coaches, there's a line.
And I imagine with therapists, it's probably an even harder one to come back from, because I don't know how you.
But once you cross that line with a client, I mean, then they feel like they are friends with you. And I mean, I've heard like clients calling like late hours of the night or texting, and
you're like, okay,
no, like that's a boundary that we cannot cross that boundary.
That's good. So do you you work with athletes, correct?
I have, yes.
You have. You have experience in that. I want to hear a little bit about that, some of the struggles that you know, have helped them through, and like just things that you've kind of seen. I want to hear a little bit.
And so working with the athletes, a lot of it is just them struggling in their prospective sport of not performing to their best ability. And some of it is just some self-esteem stuff going on. Some of it is, you know, having a period of some depressive symptoms or some anxieties of pressures from coaches, class environment, parents, and social media, like feeling like they have to perform a certain way because they're under a microscope. And so just working through that and having them tap back into what got them to the level that they are, because you just didn't get here. You know what to do. You have the skill. You have the mental fortitude to get through this, which is just at a roadblock, and we just got to find a way to get through it. Or around it. And so working with them of getting back to believing in themselves, believing in their talent, their skills, and and applying some of the stuff that we do in the session in real time.
What does that look like just even the self-belief piece of it, trying to lead them back to that for you? Like
breaking it down and getting to the root of like when it started, what was going on, and typically it stems from like one bad game or something that they did that they know they could have done better. And they're holding on to that. And so like they're stuck in that moment. And it's keeping them trapped, and it's now impacting their present performances. Because they're still stuck in that one moment that they made the mistake in. And so helping them like letting that go and moving on and getting back to, okay, now you can believe in your skill, you can believe in yourself, and you're back to being that player that or track person that you once were.
Believing in your skills. I actually say that often to my players. I'm like, you just hit the ball really hard because you didn't trust your skills. I said, trust your skills, trust the work that you've done. Stop just swinging really hard, like just trying to get a good shot off. And it's like you are not doubting you're doubting your skills, and then that's not allowing you to actually perform the skill. And it's like, get out of your own way, believe in yourself, you got this, take the shot.
And going back, because I know for me, I was very like, I had my rituals that I did before like games, like, or things like certain shorts that I wore under my basketball shorts, stuff like that. And then so I was like, what is your routine like before a game or before you line up to run your event or before you are up to bat? Like, what are some things that, and they're like, I do this. And I say, are you still doing those things? No. I'm like, well, why not? And so they literally stopped doing everything that got them to that point or helped them perform to their peak level. And so like, okay, so what do we need to do? And they're like, I need to go back to doing my ritual, my routine before. And I was like, let's start there. And just that helps. And that's it's like a switch. And it's like, okay.
Because it's an actual,
like, okay, I got this. Okay. And I was like, people don't understand the importance of having those routines.
They get you into the mindset. Yes. I used to have like quite a few things that were, this is what I did every single time before my game, until is when I was playing in California. I started to feel a leadership role on my team. And I started to realize that truly being a good captain, being a good leader on the team, was checking in on everyone else and seeing how everyone else was everyone else ready for the game. Were there those girls like head in hands, like freaking out before the game? And I realized, I was like, I needed to be able to not make those things matter to me so much, like the little rituals or whatever, so that I could focus on my team. And I really was convicted, like that was my role on my team, was to check in with my team. And it was like in one day I dropped all my rituals and my focus was my team. And I think because I still had a focus, and it was for a reason, I just decided that those things were not going to matter, and then they didn't, and I feel like I performed really well. But I was like, no, I have to keep everything the same for the longest time. I was like, I can't switch anything. I listen to this song and I do this, and then, like, this is how I prepared to perform and to compete. And I just decided, like, my focus was my team. And I think in a sense that actually relieved some pressure, because I was like, I know I'm going to kick ass.
And still allow you to get into the mindset. So.
Exactly. It still allowed me to get into the mindset. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just not going to, whatever. I was like, I know I'm going to do awesome. I'm not going to worry about myself. Like, I have done the work. And at that point, if I haven't done the work, like, we got a lot of other issues we got to confront. You know, once it comes to game time, like, your job, in a sense, like, should be done as far as, like, the work. Like, you just execute. That's all it is, right? We're not trying
memory.
We're trying, exactly.
You know, like, your body knows. Mentally, you know.
You know.
And when you start to overthink it, that's when you start
that's exactly what it is.
Well.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, all right. And I made the switch. And then it was like, I only have one ritual or one thing, like, superstition that I always keep to. And that is after I tie any one shoe. And I tie player shoes all the time because I work with goalies a lot.
Okay.
And to take off their gloves and then, like, tie their shoe, I'm just like, get over here. You know, I tie my player shoes fairly often. I have to double tap the foot afterwards. And, like, that is the one thing. I literally go, boom, boom, you're good. And my dad actually did that to me when I was really young a couple of times. And, like, it, like, got burned. I, one time, walked away from my players and I was like, oh, I can't. And I came back and, like, tapped their foot. I was like, that is the one thing that I hold on to.
Tapping the foot, that's nice.
Yeah.
And your dad did it for you.
Yes. Yeah, he did it. He would be like, all right, you're good. And I was like, all right, we know we're good. The shoe's been tied. The double tap is there. Like,
if the double tap didn't happen, you weren't good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's, like, the one thing that I've kept. But did you have any? Did you have one? Oh, your shorts. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, you had some you held on to.
Always wore my practice shorts under my game shorts.
Was that comfortable? Like actual shorts or like
practice shorts were smaller than
okay.
game shorts,
so gotcha. Okay.
We were able to do that.
Okay. And that was like...
Yeah. I was in college in the early 2000s where baggy.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was baggy.
Yeah. So you were good.
Yeah. Now things are more snug. And the shorts are shorter. And,
it's true. It's so true.
And you got the one leg compression and the no leg or vice versa.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really cool now.
Yeah. What about for track? Did you have something different for track? Because you did track for 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We warmed up and stretched and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But whenever it came to me actually running, when I got into the starter blocks, I always say a prayer.
Oh, I love that.
And and the one line that I always said was, "Give me the speed of a cheetah."
Oh, I love that.
So that was before every race, that's one that I would pray, and in the prayer I would say, "Give me the speed of a cheetah."
I love that.
Yeah.
And then you took off.
Then I took off.
With the speed of a cheetah.
Probably not the speed of a cheetah, but
close enough.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's true. I actually always pray before my games too. Yeah. I feel like a lot of athletes do. Like it gives them a calm too that they gotta hold on to.
You can just relax.
Yeah. Yeah, just trusting it. I mean, it's so interesting though. Did you get nervous before your game? Did you have nerves before your games?
I would say probably so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all athletes do to some degree.
Yeah.
You just manage them different. But I would say because you always have that fear of something not going right.
Yeah.
Or you not performing to the best of your ability, and so there were nerves in that regard. But once you get in, all that.
I mean, I would feel like I was gonna win and dominate, and I would still be like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I don't feel good. Like, seriously, every single time.
I never had any sickness, and I wouldn't throw up or anything like that. It would just be me more so up in my head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I in my head, I felt always like, I got this. I'm gonna kill this, and it was my body that had this physical reaction. Like every time, even before I'm about to like do a presentation or a speech or something. My body seriously gets like nervous. I get worked up. I get shaky. I'm like, what is going on? I feel like I'm gonna dominate, yet my body's like panic.
That's how it was with public speaking. Like, if I had to do a presentation or like in my professional career, if I had to present, like I would get so nervous. Yeah. And my voice would quiver, and I'm like, why are you like, the information, why are you so nervous? Like, just breathe.
Yeah.
eventually it went away, and I don't get that way anymore.
That's awesome.
I guess it came with more experience. Doing it.
Hopefully that happens for me eventually. I'm like, I still get like an online presentation, and before I'm like trying to sit there and hype myself up. I'm like, you're a beast. Like, you got this. And I know that I do. I'm like, I know what I'm talking about, but those first couple minutes, it's like shaky and everything. My hand is like, and I'm like, come on. But hopefully. It never went away in soccer, though, too, before games. And I did that for however many years. So I'm like, I don't know that it will ever go away. It's just my body's response.
Maybe you needed it.
Yeah. Hey, I like that. Okay. I've never thought of that. Yeah. Maybe it
was your body getting ready to go out there and do what it needed to do.
Okay. Yeah. Because even in, like, jiu-jitsu competitions, because after soccer, I got into jiu-jitsu. Right now I'm out because of a knee thing. So annoying. But even before, I would feel like, I'm going to go out there and you're going to go fight someone, like you're going to get in there with them. It's just and I would still body, I can get to the point of thinking about competing again and I get nervous. Like that feeling comes up and I'm like, oh, it's coming.
Like, we're not actually going to go out and compete.
I have to calm myself down, talking about it. I'll get so nervous. Your body's
written that muscle memory.
Yeah, it's just ready. It's like, all right, that's what we're doing. And I'm like, can we retrain that? Have you dealt with athletes who talked about why did my body have this response? Because I don't know.
Because the athletes that I've seen, they're still competing, and so that's more of a thing. Like, after you're done competing, I guess, and you step away from your sport and you still get that'd be a good conversation to have.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get back into competing in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I could sit there and really think about going in a competition and get nervous, easily.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah. But the way that I train and prepare is to the same degree that I would for a soccer game. It's 7 to 9 train sessions a week. Film, everything. We're going out there to get a win, but the response from my body is still the same. It's
competitive.
Yeah.
Anytime your body knows okay, we got to compete. It does its thing.
Yeah, it does its thing. Yeah, maybe that's a good way to reframe it. I need it. My body's getting ready to perform. Yeah, be a performer. Get it done. Have you dove much into the performer self and non-performer self as far as working with athletes and working on that switch? That's something I've started to learn a little bit more.
And without using that terminology, but working on what is life like outside of the sport, and how can you live both but not have them completely kind of blend in to one another. Because although you're the same person, you have two different parts of your life. Yeah. And sometimes they intersect. Yeah. And when they do, what's the balance there? And how do you not get so caught up in one over the other? Yeah. And when it's appropriate. When do you not bring your sport mentality or your sports life into your professional personal life? Personal life, and vice versa. Yeah. And being able to just make the switch. Yeah. I feel like that's hard. Even if I coach my team and we have a game on a Friday night, I'm that wasn't the result we want. I'm I don't want this to ruin your whole Friday night, or your whole weekend. Yeah. But it carries into the next day, and I think that's part of it, and that is good and can also be bad. Yeah, it's a balance. Because I understand if you want to be the best at whatever sport you're playing, pretty much day in and day out, you're living, breathing, eating. Yeah, that sport. It doesn't stop. Yeah. But to what degree did you also balance it with having a healthy personal life, hopefully, and a healthy mindset? And so, because you can't just focus all on that, because then you're neglecting other parts of your life. Yeah, I remember I was 18 and I was dating someone, and I remember he was like, I feel like you are only happy if soccer is going well, and I was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, but that's the phase that I'm in right now, dude. What do you want from me? I was literally because I have something that I care about that much, And I was like, well, doesn't have to be that I'm winning every single day. I just have to be doing good. And he took offense to it, and I was like, that's your problem. He was gone. Didn't last long, huh? Yeah. I remember telling him that, and I was like, that's true. Yeah. And I don't think that
that has to be a bad thing.
No.
You know?
And for me, I've even now in my professional life, I always had the ability to shut it off.
I love that.
And so whenever I played sports competitively, whenever I was done, I was done.
Nice.
And so I was able to shut that part off.
Yeah.
And now this is JT outside of basketball, JT outside of track.
Yeah.
And now in what I do, I'm able, people are like, how do you do the work that you do and not bring it home or be thinking about it?
Yes.
And I was like, I'm able to shut it off. Like
You develop those skills.
It's work. And whenever I leave the office, I leave the office. Like the work stays there.
Nice.
I mean, there are some times where you'll get a call for like an emergency situation or some crises going on.
Yeah.
And you deal with it. But when that's done, it's done. And I have a boundary where I don't answer any phone calls or emails, texts before 8 a.m. or after 7 p.m.
Nice.
So if someone contacts me during those after hours, like I see it, but I'm not engaging in it. And obviously my voicemail says if it's an emergency situation, this is what you do. And so if it's an emergency, they need to go to call the crisis hotline or go to the nearest medical emergency room. And so typically it's not an emergency situation. So I'll get with them the next day.
I love that you just you said that word a couple times, just your boundaries and sticking to them, and how much that can actually help your own life. And I have the same thing for me. Just for me, I don't even actually look at my phone until I've completed my certain task for the day.
Nice.
In the morning, I do not do it because otherwise I'm in this reactive state, and I just I can't. It's not a good tone for me, because then I'm like, oh, I have 5 messages from this person and 4 emails here and this many DMs, and immediately I lost the tone that I wanted to set going into my day. So by the time I go to my phone, I'm like, because I decided I'm going to my phone and I'm doing that. I'll have my check time and check-in response time.
You're not beholden to it. That's good.
Yeah, because otherwise, and then just even for your brain, it's not.
What's good about setting these boundaries and actually following through with them, because not only what you tell your clients or what you talk about is important, it's also important to role model. Because they're going to pick up on that. If I say you need to have better boundaries or do this for us boundaries, and then I'm not holding boundaries. It's okay.
What are we
really talking? Do boundaries really matter?
But being able to this is what I do in my life. Then I feel more confident just even coaching someone on it. That's really good.
And so it's important to role model as well.
And like you said, you learn from so many of the people that you work with too, because you're open to it. You understand that you can.
Always learning.
Do you kind of play that role in your family as well? You're kind of, the listener and hey, we got to set some boundaries here in your family as well.
And I have to set boundaries of, okay, I'm not your therapist.
Yes.
Or if they're being super negative and going on and on, I have a threshold with negativity. Gets to the point all right, either we can talk about something else or we ending the conversation. Just use on the phone or all right, I gotta go. And I can take so much.
Yes. I've definitely started to, if I'm at a place to take, to actually, because I have 7 siblings, so I got a lot. So we got a lot of conversation going on daily. If I take a phone call, the first thing that I say if it's an actual situation, how can I show up for you right now? Do you want me to listen or do you want me to give advice? What do you want from me? And just being able to make that switch is so, it's been so helpful. The expectation is set. Okay, I'm just going to be listening.
That's a good emotional boundary.
And just validate you. I'm okay, all right. And then also being able to say that to someone, I don't want to be coached on this right now, because I have a lot of, my family is competitive and they're awesome and they're inspiring and stuff. But I'm okay, I have this thing that I want to share, and actually I just want to share it.
I don't want any feedback.
I don't want any feedback. I just want to share and be excited about this. And being able to do that is so freeing, because then you're okay, and then usually once I've been able to share and I actually feel heard, or vice versa, then they're like, okay, now I do want to know your thoughts on this.
Right.
Because I was heard, not interrupted and like, you should do this or not do this, you know?
Nothing better than unsolicited, like, advice.
Yeah.
Like, did I really ask you for your opinion or? No?
Yeah, please just don't. Yeah. And I try, because I like to be a problem solver. I am a problem solver. So I try and really monitor that with myself. Like, okay, they didn't ask, just wait. If they want the advice, they will ask. And you know, I realize because I have been that role for certain people, that's why I just ask them, like, do you want me to listen or do you want me to give you advice or like feedback? And
I even ask my clients before giving us, like, is it okay if I give you some feedback, or can I share my opinion?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, sure. Or I think only once I've been told no.
Yeah.
And I respected that.
Yeah. You're like, okay, thanks for telling me. Yeah.
And we move on.
Yeah. I mean, I literally did that with my life coach last week. I was like, I'm going to share something. I don't want to be coached on this right now, though. He was like, okay, thanks. He appreciated it. He was like, well, thanks for telling me that, because then you're not wondering. You're just like, okay, you don't want that advice. Like, all right, cool.
For sure.
But then it opens the door for later on to be like, remember that thing we were talking about? Okay, now I'm ready to actually get a second opinion, you know?
Because sometimes they might not be in the space to receive it.
It's true. And that leads me to another thing. I'm going on tangents right now, but just being able to wait and just tell someone when they do ask for advice, well, let me think on that. I'll get back to you, you know? And then also, as soon as someone does ask, like, asking more questions before I even answer, you know? They're like, what are your thoughts on this? Instead of being like, well, I'm like, okay, well, let me ask a couple more questions, get some more information. Instead of, like, stroking my ego, like, I got the answer for you, you know?
Right. And sometimes I don't say anything because they're not at a place where they can actually hear what I have to say. Yeah. Without being defensive. Or it just may not be appropriate for me to share. Like, they can't handle that truth yet. Yeah. And so you hold on to it, and then when they get to that space where they can, then that's where you can get that information, or kind of dive into that topic of conversation where they're ready to kind of actually do that work. Yeah. I had a conversation recently with one of my siblings, and you know, she called me. She was really upset about something. I just told her, I said, hey, I'm actually not in a space where I'm just going to listen to you vent about this. I said, if you want me to actually tell you, like, my thoughts and what I actually believe in this situation, I will, but you're not going to get a bunch of empathy from me right now on this, because we've done this too many times. And she took it so well, and then we actually ended up having a big breakthrough. But I was like, I'm full. I'm full. I've listened to it, like you said. Did my negativity? What did you say? Meter is full. What did you say? I only take so much.
Yeah, I can only take so much. And I just told her, I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and just validate this negativity. Like, if we want to switch it and get to, like, a solution, we can do that. Let's jump in. But I was like, no, I can't sit here anymore. And
it takes a toll on you.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does.
And it's just like, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah. No. Well,
it's all about mindset, and you spend too much time in negativity. Eventually, that becomes your mindset.
Yeah. And same. Yeah. I mean, with mindset alone, like, you can shift the entire tone of your day. But I feel like you're very aware of that, and
you can restart your day at any point in the day.
I love that.
Like, just because you may have a bad morning, you don't have to have a bad day. So, like, resetting, like, stopping. Okay, things didn't go as well as I want them to during this part of the day, but it doesn't have to continue on throughout the day. I can shift that. Yeah. And have a better afternoon or a better evening. Yes.
I like that, even for just like games. Okay, we had a bad first half. Doesn't mean we had a bad game. We had a bad first half. The second half could be awesome.
Like, that's why there's two halves to the game. Like,
yeah. Like, all games are broken up. Always. I love that, actually. Yeah, I love that about it. Well, this was awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
Easy conversation.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else. So, like, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm already excited for the next show. Turn on notifications and be on the lookout for my next episode. Also, please share the show with anyone you feel like might benefit from listening to. Thank you for all your love and support. I will see you soon.